What is DNA? DNA is essentially the entire collection, the blueprint, you can say, of all the projections that are available through the ranges of vibrational frequencies of this human organism, which is both non-physical and physical, but mostly non-physical. In our DNA, and our understanding of DNA is encoded the secret of this human body. Only 2% of DNA is writing the physical body. The rest of which we call junk DNA is participating in running networks of life force that are encoded within the morphogenetic field. The morphogenetic field, which is the instruction manual, it is the instruction manual that brings this life force into form. Okay, it defines the limitations of the growth of our fingers, our arms. How many arms do we have? How our organs function? And it pools information, psychic and psychological information from the history that is brought down through our generational lineages. We are brought down not only trauma, not only generational trauma, but also psychic information. So if you come from a bloodline of psychics, chances are you have very highly available psychic abilities. If you have a bloodline that is connected with Greys and has lots of experiences with Pleiadians or Arcturians in their experiences, you are holding that memory, and that DNA functions as a portal. DNA is a portal, okay, because it is a spiral toroidal flow, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But every single one of the chakras is a portal that provides encoded information, both physical, non-physical, that are available to the human. The human is learning and navigating these dimensional realms every night when we leave the body. The highest level that you are able to access through your emotional body will allow you to access higher dimensions, higher octaves, okay? Which is why the human body that is riddled with pain and suffering and resistance usually projects that into their out-of-body experiences. And this is incredibly important because it's part of the maturing of the human in this physical vessel. There's a certain level of spiritual maturity that is taking place, and that has to take place as a result of the veil thinning. We need to understand how to navigate and how this creation operates. Every single frequency, your body literally looks like this. It's spheres between spheres. They contract and they expand. When we are ignorant of how the chakras function, we are run by the external influences. Every single one of these chakras can expand and contract in the body. We need to learn how to also control. The control of chakras is the control of emotional body. Okay? So when you are experiencing a certain emotional state, you are having certain chakras expanded and other chakras contracted. If your emotion is negative, the majority of your upper chakras are usually contracted because the upper chakras are managing higher octaves of emotional frequency. Okay, so the beauty of the human body is that we're self-organized in such a way that all of this information is encoded. And I go very deep into this in my channel. You can follow me at Geraldine Orozco on YouTube. But every single organ of the body is processing a vibrational frequency. It processes emotional states, thought forms, ancestral history, of all which fall under the category of those frequencies. And so this is why when humans repeat, let's say, anger in their body over and over again, we have corroded livers, we have problems with liver systems, and every single organ is part of a very intricate, holistic system of bioelectrical movement and conductivity. Every organ is feeding another organ. There is a self-organizing system to that. So when we use one emotion over another, even if it's like, let's say, a false sense of joy or a false sense of happiness all the time without addressing the deeper emotions, there is an imbalance in your organism. So we need to essentially what our spirituality, a lot of these spiritual groups talk about, being in a state of joy and harmony all the time, but actually one extreme and the other will never create the wholeness that we are. It is actually the 0 point that is the access point to all dimensional layers and your greatest truth, which will allow you to access and navigate these dimensional levels with integration. Now, the human body, through the morphogenetic field, this morphogenetic field being the instruction manual that brings your body into form, is cycling through repetitive programs through the DNA. Okay, so I'm an epigenetic psychotherapist. Epigenetic psychotherapist focuses on addressing ancestral trauma and then understanding how that affects your biology, your physical body. So the illnesses that you're coming into, the depression, the emotional states that are blocking you from coming into a state of co-creation, those are alchemized by the awareness and then the cultivation of the opposite emotion. Okay. What we are learning to do as a collective race is to love. We are learning to love. We are learning what peace is. We are learning what harmony is. This is what the next 7 years will be dedicated to. And right now, we need to spend our time becoming familiar, because these states of consciousness are not just emotional temporary states. They are the entire restructuring of your DNA. They are the crystallization of frequencies within your body. And they are also the alchemization of very stagnant belief systems that are stored within the morphogenetic field, within your energetic body, your aura, okay? We hold within the body blockages. Let me see if I can actually come into that. Oh, sorry, I don't have that here. We have within the body blockages that manifest that block. So for example, the fear, whatever it is, your deepest core fear is, that is what we are opening. So what happens when the human body begins to move these blockages out of the body is that we begin to come into harmony, and harmony manifests into, because you are mostly water, because you are mostly made out of this crystallization, your bone is a crystallization of matter, all the different ranges of matter exist within your body. Okay, so the alchemization process is to hold higher bands of frequency in the body. And for that, the body has to be prepared. Exercise and movement is extremely important for the body. Holding emotional states in pure authenticity. Okay, so the 0 point is neutral state of non-judgment, but from that neutral state of non-judgment, the ability to hold absolute authenticity for your emotions, your expressions. This frequency of authenticity is the frequency that will lead human race into its great awakening moving forward. When the human body, because the authenticity is the ability to allow all natural aspects of this human, which are many. We have shame, we have guilt, we have disgust, we have lust, we have love, we have peace, we have harmony, we have compassion. You are all of them, and none of them are better than the other. And that's something that we must dispel in order to really understand how this system works. Because the moment we dispel those limiting belief systems, the body can spin at its highest rate. All of those belief systems and compartmentalizations of your natural expressions are the limitation of your movement. Our human body has many forms that we take on. The Merkaba, this star-like structure in our body, is only one of them. And every higher octave and state of consciousness that you enter, you're going to enter into a more complex geometrical structure, because every dimension that you access in dream state, and you're the alchemist is the one that is navigating dream states in the waking state. Okay, So those of you that dream, that's great. You practice lucidity and dream to remember your dreams. Now you learn how to control your dreams. You discern, and you choose. And you are learning how to apply and access your free will in all dimensions. First, we learn how to access free will in this dimension. And that is essentially the birth of pure compassion, navigating this realm with compassion and with truth. And the truth that we're talking about is not a self-serving truth for what's good for this body right now. It is what is good for the collective. And this is the kind of ascension cycle that we are moving through right now. The entire universe is cycling in a form of ascension. And the Fibonacci sequence is a very important sequence to understand, as it is subliminally encoded in every aspect of this natural realm, inside out. So as we are understanding the chakra bodies, every single one of your chakras is made up of thousands of these little micro coils, okay, that make up every single one of the chakra bodies. The chakra bodies are essentially spheres within spheres of your body. When we experience trauma and limiting beliefs, those coils contract and break, and they create holes, what we know as holes or tears in your energetic body. This is where your life force is depleted. The ability to literally visualize sealing your energetic body is so powerful to sustaining and controlling these thoughts, these crazy thoughts, and the analytical mind and the survival mind that wants to run fear-based programs. So learn to control your energetic body by closing the holes that you have in your field, by beginning to work with your chakra bodies and the way that you are beginning to redirect that depletion energy into a centripetal state of movement. What happens when the body begins to redirect their life force is that we begin to recover memory. We are bioelectrical organisms. And what happens is the activation of DNA is essentially the recovering of who we actually are. That means that you understand yourself as not a victim of trauma through your life. So you have begun to alchemize your trauma in your life, integrate the pains and all the separation that you know, and that you begin to do that in your past lives as well, because past lives are not past lives, they are simultaneous. So the ability to access that is essentially what we're doing. What's really important right now is that I'm going to be teaching a class on the sun and DNA, because it's extremely important for us to understand the connection between the sun and our DNA. The reason why is because we are organisms that are part of this solar system, and everything is communicating. But when your channels are closed and when you're distracted with the distractions of this world, whether it's politics or whether it's fears or wars or the things that are happening outside, but you are not cultivating the internal foundation of the 0 point in your body, whatever situation you're in, we begin to fall into the illusion of suffering and helplessness, into the victim archetype of this realm. And that severs our connection to higher wisdom that is necessary to take you out of those timelines of creation that are a product of ancestral history. Okay, so what happens is that we are experiencing massive solar flares that are speaking and understanding and communicating to us that there is an alchemization that is necessary through the human race. The more solar flares that are coming through, it's massive bands of information that is available to humanity. The more human stays in states of stillness, the more we connect with cycles of nature, we begin to align and harmonize the body with the natural systems of information and regeneration of this universe. And that is extremely important as we begin to open the connection to the 7th and the 8th chakra. The 7th is your connection with your higher self, and the 8th is the connection with the source. We receive those informations of the sun, which are providing us universal and many, many galaxy informations, our sister galaxies, which are all encoded in your DNA. More people are going to have contact, more people are going to be aware of their starseed lineages, more people are going to be seeing through their psychic abilities, because we are evolving into the human that is multidimensional, anchored into the physical. In order to do that, we have to begin to redirect our attention to the internal realms and open and channel life force through the body in order to activate this Merkabaic system. The connection between DNA and your history and all the memory that is within your body is literally the anchoring of source energy through your body. That means that in order to do that, you integrate the shadows and the blockages that you have. You are cultivating a regulated nervous system in a state of pure authenticity. And your nervous system, your organs are in harmony. We are functioning. We are releasing what needs to release. We are allowing what we need to allow. Another element that I want to make sure that I share with you today is that in the physical body, we put a lot of information on moving and activating our higher faculties and our higher chakras, but we don't open the lower chakras of our body. And what I'm being shown right now is that we really need to anchor into the chakras of the grid of the earth, because we have blocked that. We have blocked that in a way that we are ignorant to the connection to the planet Earth. And really, in order to harness healing into this planet Earth, we need to activate the chakras that connect us to Mother Earth. And essentially, these chakras are helping us link the information, this cosmic information, and direct it through the physical body into the ley lines of the planet Earth. The Earth is an organism of consciousness, just like you are. And the planet Earth in itself is actually healing through you. Okay. And we are also healing through the planet Earth. The planet Earth takes information from this solar system, and especially the central sun, which is a portal. And our DNA is a web that is interconnected to all of these planetary systems through the bioelectrical morphogenetic field. Okay, so the morphogenetic field is essentially the manifestation of this holographic bioelectrical system that provides information for the physical body. So begin to anchor. Yesterday, I published a video on my YouTube channel that follows and guides you through a meditation dedicated to the full moon, but the practices in there are available to use to activate the lower chakras in the body that connect you to Earth. We have to bridge this illusion that we are only one thing. We are going into major states of unification, not separation. Anyone that tells you that we're going into separation is a distraction, and it will be a confusion for how this world needs to be operated by. The integration, the unification, there is no split, there is no separation between you and any other human. There's no separation between your belief system and another belief system. We are mirrors of each other, and the sooner we begin to integrate that into the physical body and into your programming and subconscious creation system through your emotions, the sooner you will be able to access unified consciousness and understanding of what that looks like in this human world. It is a different state that we are creating, and it's not one that we're absolutely familiar with, because we are healing from generations of separation into one of unification. So how we hold our emotional body, the presence of our energy when you walk into the room, regardless of whether you're in a room of people that understand you or not, regardless of people that mirror your state of consciousness or not, you hold through your frequency codes of activation for everyone that is around you, because we exist and we're barely a little dot in a morphogenetic ocean of information. So the more that you come in and cultivate this physical body into a generator, into a conduit of life force. Here is the power of the human and the alchemical marriage that is the integration of the non-physical into the physical. So we are paying attention to all of the things that we are dreaming. We are paying attention to the dream. Remember, you and I are in a dream right now. You and I have agreed to this dream together. And everything that you're learning from this and everything you've learned is part of collective contractual agreements that we hold. And another thing, and the deep work is that all the agreements that we've made, contractual agreements, are based on your emotional body through the bioelectrical system. So as soon as you begin to address these contractual experiential agreements with your family members, friends, family partners, children, we begin to free ourselves and begin to access free will creation. Okay. Free will is extremely important for the human. The human does not have free will until they recognize who they are and how to access that information. So I think we're coming to an end. If someone can let me know, do I still have some time or have I exceeded my time? Or if we want to do questions, I don't know. Just let me know.
Awesome. That was fabulous and perfect timing.
Oh, good. Fantastic.
Everything's in perfect timing. We're all perfectly divinely aligned. Let's see what, first of all, I would love to hear people give Geraldine some love and gratitude for that amazing presentation. And let me see if I can find any questions for you. And if you didn't post any questions, or even if you did, feel free to repost them. I'm looking and I will see whatever we can come up with. And in the meantime, I just wanted to say, Geraldine, I want to put your website in again. I put it in there before. Let me just grab that again real quick for everybody, because this way they can reach out to you again. I'm going to just do that real fast and then give people a chance to put in some questions if they have them. And I would love for you, I know while I'm looking here, I would love for you to elaborate a little bit more on the DNA and how we can access more of our pure potential, because I know that's so important for people. Do you want to share a little bit more about that?
Yeah, sure. So, our DNA is essentially, I go really deep in this, but our DNA is essentially the information that it's infinite potential organized in the DNA. Okay. And our human body is a projection of the information that's in our DNA. We can epigenetically, based on the emotions that we hold in the body, because we are a bioelectrical system, this human body is a holographic system. Every single emotion is a bioelectrical charge that is input into this system, into the construct. Most of our programming is limited by the limiting belief systems that we have. And the human essentially is only just cycling and repeating this information. It's like we're only using this much of this massive ocean of information. So when the human begins to end the repetition of those belief systems, the repetition of those emotional states, the repetition of those actions in their life, and for many generations, you're actually ending generations of that behavior. What happens is that the human body begins to access through the ascension of the octave that the human is experiencing, because obviously those repetitions have a certain frequency that you're holding, and it also crystallizes in the body, in the energetic body, in a specific way. When you break those patterns, you begin to access higher bands of frequency, which means information, which means that you're expanding your awareness to more bodies. Okay, which essentially we have infinite number of bodies. The number of dimensions that we're made up of are made infinite number of bodies that we have. And these bodies are accessible through our frequency. Most of us are navigating maximum 8, 9, 10 dimension, maybe 13 dimension in dream state. But the idea is that we become lucid in all of those dimensions, and we proactively understand what we're doing through our bodies, how we're navigating in and out of the body. We're constantly moving in and out of dimensions. And the more that we are working and anchoring this non-physical realm into our physical, understanding and alchemizing the contractual agreements that are made ancestrally and then interdimensionally, we begin to recover memory of who we are, because that's where our past lives are essentially encoded in those experiences. We recover the past life memory through the ancestral healing, and we begin to recover the memory of our interdimensional and our starseed lineages through the future aspects of ourselves. There's no linear timeline. This is all a spherical model of time. Everything exists available to you. And DNA is essentially just reading from this spherical information available to you based on your vibrational frequency, which is why hypnotherapy is such a powerful tool. When we go into hypnotherapy, we are accessing our field. And the level of work that we've done in alchemy in the transmutation of these lower programs opens the ability to access more information based on your frequency. So the human has, so essentially DNA is activated, and we talk about 24 strands of DNA, but DNA is also spherical, and that's something that we will be learning eventually. We see DNA as a spiral strand, but it's actually a spherical system. And right now we only see a spiral because we're only using 2% of that DNA. We're only using a very tiny part of that. But as we evolve, and of course our organisms are in this lifetime, we're going to probably access a small percentage of that, but the soul is actually the spherical system of that information. The soul is that infinite potential. So the DNA is really just a way to organize a very small access into information that is just precisely necessary for the human in this incarnation and everything that it's designed to experience at this time, in this waking state, and also many dimensions. Our contractual agreements are not limited to the physical families and life experiences. We are actually ascending, and we have contracts on many dimensions, and all of that is encoded in your DNA, which is why people are recovering the memory of being Pleiadians or Arcturians or whatever lineage you are expressing. It's something that's been historically, and you are that. We are made of that genetic structure, in our bodies.
Yeah, that's awesome. Love that you expanded on that. Thank you so much for sharing. And you definitely have a lot of love in the chat. I think we have well, we're pretty much at time, but let me just say some of the things. Kim said, "Wow, wow, wow, so powerful." The Wake Up channel said, "Thank you. What's your YouTube?" And her YouTube is her name, Geraldine Orazuco. You can see it there.
Orozco,
And I
yeah.
didn't ask. I'm sorry, Geraldine. I know
Totally.
you, love you, and trust you, and I still am not pronouncing your name right. I apologize. But I put it in the chat room again. Daniel asked, and I know we're just about ready for our next person, but just real quick, Daniel asked how to deal with blockages in the body, which I know
Yeah.
you've been covering. Do you want to? I know
Yeah.
it's not a one-minute answer, but
So just very simple is acknowledge what it is that you're resisting and feel that resistance. And emotions have many layers. When you sit with that emotion that is there in that blockage, just sit with the blockage. You're going to undo the layers by acknowledging each and one of those emotions. And we can reach the root of that emotion, begin to understand, where is that emotion in your life? How long have you been feeling that way, that blockage? And it'll lead you to the root and the origin point in which we took on this belief system. The alchemization of that is the broadening of your perspective of the trauma that was incurred, that began to create that contraction in you. And usually we put ourselves in the shoe of the person that created that trauma for us, and we begin to expand our vision. That helps us to access universal consciousness. It helps us to reach compassion. And the cultivation of that kind of broader vision of understanding many roles and the cause and effect, essentially understanding karma, is what alchemizes in the emotional body the release of those heavy resistant emotions. And that will help you release the block. But you can watch my channel. I teach step by step and I guide it and I show you the inside out of how that functions. And of course, I do sessions. So if you do need deeper guidance work, definitely connect with me and I'll be so happy to work with you. And thank you so much. It was such an honor to
Awesome.
be here as always.
Yeah, you got some really nice love in there. Kim said, wow, 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 so powerful. The Wake Up Channel, we said that one. Irene said, thank you, that was amazing. Costa said, amazing. Just tons of wonderful feedback on here for you. People love you so much. We're so grateful to you. And thank you for being here. And I know
Thank you
we're
so
going to
much.